Somewhere on the internet right now, a person with exceptional abdominal muscles is standing shirtless in their kitchen, holding a protein shaker, explaining to 4 million people that the secret to their physique is discipline, consistency, and a supplement available at the link in their bio for 20% off with the code that is their own name. Nobody has questioned why they are shirtless in the kitchen. Jung would question it. I'm David, and welcome to our channel. Let us begin with what an influencer actually is, not what the industry calls them. A content creator, a digital entrepreneur, a thought leader, a lifestyle curator, what they actually are. An influencer is a person who has accumulated a sufficient number of strangers willing to watch them exist, that other companies will pay them to exist near their products. That is the entire business model. Existence, at scale, with sponsorship. At some point in the early 21st century, human beings began following other human beings on the internet for the primary purpose of watching them live, not performing in any traditional sense, simply living, eating breakfast, going to the gym, standing in front of a mirror describing their skincare routine to no one in particular. And somehow, in a development that would have required Jung to take a very long walk before he could begin to analyze it, millions of people found this compelling. The question Jung would ask, and he would ask it very quietly, in the manner of a man who has already formed a view and is giving you the opportunity to arrive at it yourself, is not why people became influencers. That part is straightforward. Attention is a human need. Validation is a human need. Money is useful. The combination of all three, available to anyone with a camera and sufficient willingness to perform their life publicly, is not surprising. The question is why we follow them. And the answer, as Jung would tell you, has almost nothing to do with them. Jung spent his career mapping the process by which human beings project their inner world outward onto other people. The anima and the animus, his terms for the inner image of the ideal feminine and masculine, are not invented consciously. They are accumulated over years from everything we have absorbed, desired, feared, and been told we should want. They are built from film stars and parents and teachers and early experiences of love and loss. And they are searching, always, for somewhere to land. The influencer is the most efficient projection surface the human psyche has ever been offered. They are attractive. They are aspirational. They are present, appearing in your feed daily, multiple times, in curated fragments of a life that has been specifically engineered to produce a particular feeling in the viewer. And crucially, they are available. You can follow them, comment on them, feel, through the particular intimacy of the parasocial relationship, that you know them, that they know you. They do not know you. This is not a criticism. It is simply a fact worth naming. What you are following is not the person. You are following the projection, the version of your own ideal self, or your own feared self, or your own desired life, that you have cast onto their face, their body, their kitchen, their relationship, their morning routine. The influencer is the screen. You are the projector, which means your following list is not a collection of interesting people. It is a map of your unconscious. I would encourage you to look at it this evening with that in mind. It will be illuminating, possibly uncomfortably so. Now, the fitness influencer. He requires examination, with full seriousness and appropriate thoroughness. The fitness influencer, and for the purposes of this analysis, we will focus on the male variant, though the phenomenon spans all genders with remarkable consistency, presents himself to his audience in a state of perpetual physical readiness. The shirt is absent. It is not clear where the shirt is. It may never have existed. He appears to move through the entirety of his waking life. The kitchen, the gym, the supplement unboxing, The motivational address to camera at 5 a.m. in a condition of complete upper body exposure. The abdominal muscles are not incidental. They are the content. Jung would look at this with the particular attention he reserved for symbols that are doing a great deal of psychological work, while appearing to be simply about going to the gym. Because the shirtless fitness influencer is not primarily about fitness, he is about the male persona at its most distilled: strength, discipline, physical dominance, the body as evidence of a superior relationship with willpower, broadcast to an audience that is receiving it at the level of the unconscious, before the conscious mind has had time to form an opinion. Every man watching is, beneath whatever conscious response he generates, measuring himself. The measurement is not flattering. This is, from the influencer's perspective, excellent for engagement. Every person watching who finds the shirtless man attractive is receiving something from that image that has less to do with him specifically and more to do with what he represents. The animus, the inner masculine ideal, given a face and a protein shaker and 20% off with the code CHAD. Jung would note that this is one of the oldest projections in human history. The warrior, the provider, the physically exceptional male who signals genetic superiority. What is new is the supplement deal. He would also note, with the precision of a man who has spent a lifetime examining what lies beneath the surface of human behavior, that the person who feels compelled to remove their shirt in every piece of content they produce may be worth examining as closely as the audience watching them. The shadow of the fitness influencer is the person who is terrified of what they would be without the body. The persona built entirely of muscle has a shadow built entirely of the fear that without it, there is nothing worth following. He would not say this to be unkind. He would say it because it is true, and because the supplement company does not mention it in the partnership brief. Then there is the wellness influencer. The wellness influencer has achieved inner peace. This is excellent news. They would like to share it with you. For a monthly subscription of $89, which includes access to their program, their journal prompts, their guided meditations, and a discount code for the adaptogenic mushroom blend that played a pivotal role in their healing journey and Kundalini awakening. Jung, who spent 40 years helping people achieve genuine psychological wholeness at a rate that was frankly inefficient by modern standards, would have thoughts about the monetization of inner peace. The wellness influencer occupies a specific and fascinating Jungian position. They are performing integration, the appearance of having done the shadow work, having faced the unconscious, having arrived at a place of genuine self-knowledge, while simultaneously constructing one of the most elaborate personas on the platform. The content is authenticity. The delivery is managed. The vulnerability is scheduled. Every crying video is lit. Every raw moment has a ring light. This is not a condemnation. It is an observation. The wellness influencer may genuinely believe in what they are selling. The persona and the person may be closer together than in most cases. But the moment the inner life becomes content, the moment the shadow work becomes a series, the moment the healing becomes a brand, something fundamental shifts. Jung would say, the examined life is not the same as the performed examination of life. One produces self-knowledge, the other produces content. The adaptogenic mushrooms, for what it is worth, were not part of his clinical recommendations. The most psychologically sophisticated figure in the influencer ecosystem is the one who has built their entire brand on the absence of a brand. The authenticity influencer, the one who is real, unfiltered, just like you, who posts the crying face and the bad skin day and the difficult conversation they had with their partner, who announces regularly that they are not going to perform for you anymore, and then performs that announcement to an audience that rewards them for it with their highest engagement of the month. Jung would find this the most technically impressive persona construction on the entire platform. Because what the authenticity influencer has done is build a mask out of the appearance of removing the mask. The persona is now performing its own absence. The shadow material, the doubt, the difficulty, the messy interior, has been brought into the content not to integrate it but to monetize it. The vulnerability is real enough to feel genuine. It is also scheduled, lit, captioned, and tagged. Jung called the integration of the shadow one of the most demanding psychological tasks available to the human being. It requires sitting with what is uncomfortable, in private, without an audience, for as long as it takes to genuinely understand it. The authenticity influencer has found a way to do this in public, in under 60 seconds, with a sponsorship from a therapy app in the second slide. He would almost admire the efficiency of it. At some point, the influencer, having accumulated sufficient followers, is approached by a company that would like them to present a product to their audience as though they discovered it naturally, use it personally, and are sharing it out of genuine enthusiasm rather than a contractual arrangement worth several $1,000s. The audience, which is fully aware of this arrangement, watches anyway. The influencer, who is also fully aware that the audience is fully aware, performs genuine enthusiasm anyway. The brand, which is aware that everyone is aware of everything, pays for the performance anyway. Jung would call this a collective participation in a shared fiction so thoroughly understood by all parties that it has evolved into its own form of social contract. Nobody is deceived. Nobody claims to be deceived. And yet the performance continues, with complete commitment on all sides. He would note that this is structurally identical to several religious practices he had studied at length. He would then move on without elaborating, because some observations are more useful left open. The follow button is the most psychologically significant button on the internet, and almost nobody treats it as such. You press it quickly, reflexively, because something in the image produced a feeling, and the feeling produced an action, and the action was completed before the conscious mind had fully engaged with what had just happened. This is the speed of projection. It does not wait for rational assessment. It moves at the speed of recognition, the particular feeling of seeing something that resonates with an inner image you have been carrying without knowing you were carrying it. What you follow tells you what you project. What you project tells you what you need. What you need tells you what you have not yet found inside yourself. The fitness influencer with the absent shirt is carrying someone's projection of physical power they do not feel they possess. The wellness influencer with the ring-lit vulnerability is carrying someone's projection of peace they have not yet managed to find. The authenticity influencer performing the absence of performance is carrying someone's projection of freedom from the very persona management that the platform demands. None of them can give you what you are following them for, not because they are fraudulent, though some are, but because what you are actually looking for cannot be found in someone else's content. It can only be found in the slow, unglamorous, entirely unsponsored process of examining your own interior life with the same attention you have been giving to theirs. Jung would say, the person you most need to follow does not have an account. They live inside you. They have been waiting with considerable patience for you to put the phone down long enough to notice them. The influencer economy will not collapse. It will evolve. The faces will change. The platforms will change. The specific performances will change. But the underlying dynamic, the human hunger for an idealized self to follow, for a projected life to consume, for the particular comfort of watching someone else appear to have it together, will remain. Because that hunger is not a product of the internet. It is a product of being human. The internet simply gave it a business model, a comment section, and a 20% discount code. The question worth asking, not of the influencer, but of yourself, is not whether what they are selling is real. It is what you are looking for when you press follow. What need is being met by watching someone else's curated existence? What part of your own interior life is being quietly outsourced to a stranger with a ring light and a supplement deal? Jung spent his life insisting that the most important relationship you will ever have is the one with yourself. Not the projected self, not the followed self, not the self that appears in the best light, at the best angle, with the best caption. The actual self, the whole one, the one that doesn't need a code at checkout. I am now required to inform you that if you found value in this episode, you might consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to this channel. I am aware of the irony of this request, given everything we have just discussed. Jung would also be aware of it. Unlike him, I am asking anyway. Take care as always.